please remember to leave a like, a comment, share the video about, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Thank you. Well, isn't this just fantastic? Kick streamers are cancer. Allow me to explain further, because this video would be very short otherwise. No doubt that first sentence was all you needed for this video. Kick streamers are cancer because they don't seem to understand society, rules, culture, or any form of decorum. This has led to many of them poisoning the well with what people see as a kick streamer. Take the likes of Jack Doherty. Yeah, not a good look. Any IRL streamer within his realm of his ilk. Losers, for the most part, Fusi is another, who go out of their way to make things as dramatic, boring, trite, aggravating as possible for clicks, whether it be by pissing off the IRL folk who are not online chronically like these losers, or whether it be going to cultures where your behaviour is abhorrent or considered as such, and chasing a local down because they're wearing local garb and wanting to take a selfie with them, or pose near them, or find a not-so-touristy hotspot to perform one of your quaint little dances, several times over with different emotions. There are YouTube channels that do that. I don't care for it. The IRL streamer, though, is fake. For someone who does IRL streams, it's surprising how much of their life is actually fabricated. They took the pattern of David Dobrik's fake vlogs and applied it to live streams because they are so balls deep in their analytics, so desperate for likes and clicks that nothing of substance matters because they can take so much for granted knowing it is easily replaced. Okay, should I end the video here? Because this is slightly longer than a short, but I don't think I'm wrong so far. Earlier this year, I made an exhibition of stupid people and covered Johnny Somali. I'm going to play that clip before we continue because he is the subject matter of today. Let's talk about PewDiePie. Back in 2022, PewDiePie moved away from the United Kingdom and with his wife moved to Japan. He has recently directly called out creators and influencers, so yes, we're keeping in theme here, who are going to Japan. Hell, I've been doing this a bit recently on my Twitter because I've seen an uptick of touristy types, influencers, going to places they probably shouldn't go to, like Kyoto, and just harassing locals for the attention. In the case of PewDiePie, he has made it a point to call out Johnny Somali, who gained infamy on Kick for harassing Japanese locals and blasting music in restaurants. PewDiePie thinks he's an effing idiot. Eventually, Johnny Somali was fined, and he was then deported from Japan. I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny was banned permanently from ever going to Japan. PewDiePie firmly believes influencers are ruining Japan by going there and again doing this kind of obnoxious crap. And I agree with him. If you go to another country, don't take your culture with them. You've gone to that country to experience their culture. This is not overly complicated. If you can't adhere to their societal norms or their practices, you shouldn't be there at all. Don't expect them to change because of your westernized interpretation. Johnny Somali, I believe, had been yeeted off Kick because of how irritating he is. Johnny Somali, though, didn't take this very well. In fact, on Twitter, he tried to do some hard, smackdown-ish kind of stuff to PewDiePie by tweeting out an image of the Times of Israel about YouTube star being in trouble because of the N-word, saying he ain't my OG, the new generation, we run this now, Buddy needs to shut the F up and retire, racist against blacks and an anti-Semite. This hypocrite has no room to even discuss me, especially with misinformation and lies. 1. I was never charged for trespassing in Osaka. 2. I'm not permanently banned from Japan. 3. He called me a terrorist, very interesting use of language that could be racially motivated, definitely defamatory and considered slander and libel. See you in court, Felix. The thing here is, Rubber Johnny, you may consider what he has said to be defamatory. Base it on what you were doing in Japan and what the Japanese culture, norms and practices dictate your actions to be, not what you base it on based on English or westernized interpretations. Again, a lot of the crap that you consider acceptable or not acceptable language-wise in the UK is not the same as Japan. For example, they will openly mock someone for being fat. I've covered them here, it is true. Over here in the United Kingdom, it's not acceptable when it should be. Johnny recently started a brand new YouTube channel, and he's done this because he's been banned from Kick, so he wants to expose Kick for it. My view when it comes to Rubber Johnny is stop being such a gigantic douche and actually fit in. You'll do well and succeed. You can still do your IRL streams without having to antagonize so many people who do not understand what you're doing or why you're doing it. I'll give you an example. On your homepage, you have a never do this in Japan, train with text-to-speech. I remember watching an episode of Top Gear where Clarkson was driving a car and May and Hammond were on public transport. You should never be on your phone on public transport. It is considered highly offensive. That could have taken 5 minutes at most to work out, not a 49-minute stream, or clips from a 49-minute stream. You, Rubber Johnny, are unironically a gigantic tosser that has been yeeted from multiple platforms for being a gigantic tosser. So with that information in mind, and Johnny Somali being his usual self, he's got himself into trouble as early back as April this year, where he got arrested by Israeli police for sexually harassing the officers during an anti-government and hostage deal protest in Tel Aviv. So that's April. He was recording live for his social media accounts at the time of the incident and records himself calling a police officer a bitch and telling her, "I'll slap that ass."
I'm from America, don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. I'm from America. Don't touch me. I'm from America. Don't touch me. I'll slap that ass. I'll grab it too. Donald Trump told me grab it by the pussy. I'll grab that too. Stop playing with me. I'll grab you. I'll grab it by the pussy right here. I don't give a. I don't give a. I'm a different type of journalist. I'm a different type of journalist. I'm a different type of journalist. Oh shit! I'm a different type of journalist. I'm a journalist. I'm Don Lemon. I'm Don Lemon, but I'm not a faggot.
The thing here is, Israeli police are very much no nonsense. Many countries that have mandatory military service are very no nonsense. It's a running theme we'll get to, don't worry, consider it foreshadowing. At the end of the investigation, he was arrested on suspicion of interfering with a police officer in the performance of duty, insulting a public servant, rioting in a public place, and violation of privacy. That because he was live streaming. His live streams, in fact, were used as evidence. In 2023, he was arrested in Japan for trespassing, and shortly after for public disturbances. This man is an absolute loser. My view, shared by many, most of my subscribers, is the same. If you go to another country, don't think your culture comes with you. If you're going to another country, you're not going there to say, "Oh, this looks nice." No, you're also going there to immediately accept their culture is not like yours. Alright? If you think otherwise and think you can behave like Johnny did, in Israel especially, you're precious. Let's skip ahead to a week ago. Yes, a mere week ago, many months later after the whole Tel Aviv incident. Johnny is in South Korea, another country with mandatory military service where all their emergency services are highly skilled, including the Oikari, in most military combat. It wouldn't be wise when you're looking like a little twink, like Johnny Somali, to go out of your way to aggravate even the K-pop folk, because they'd beat him up too. He decided to show a bit of disrespect to the local culture by going up to a statue of a comfort woman.
My God, yo, this is what I was looking for.
Actually?
Yeah. Japan hates this thing. Right here.
Yeah, make sure to fucking show it.
Japan hates this thing.
Tell them why. Tell them why.
Sit down with it. Put it. Hold it. Japan hates. Let me sit down with it. I don't know if it's respect to sit here. I stand with the Korean people. Bring it closer to you. Bring it closer. I stand with the Korean people. I love Korea. And everything that I did in Japan was for the Korean and the Chinese people. Let's go. Let's get out of here.
How do you suppose the South Korean people reacted when that did its rounds across social media? Now, a bit of context about that statue, the Statue of Peace. It is a monument that honors Korean victims who were forced into sexual slavery during Japan's colonial rule. Understandably, Japan don't care for it because it tells everyone about their history, but the South Koreans treat this with respect, and it's a matter of principle. It would be like him going up to the cenotaph in London and dry humping it. It would get a very visceral response from the plebeians. Not going to recommend him coming to the UK to do that, although it's unlikely he'll be able to, because he's in a bit of trouble.
An African-American YouTuber acts lewdly towards Sonia-san, or Statue of Peace. He even sits on the statue's laps and dances.
In an attempt to stand out as much as possible, Johnny's also been dancing to music in public places, faffing up people's food, as you can see here, his food though, throwing it at the walls, at people on the floor, and acting quite inappropriate on public transport. He is doing a marvellous job of making sure every country he goes to leaves a bad taste in the people's mouth. He is a terrible person, but he's enabled by a large audience. Well, he was. He's banned off YouTube, so he doesn't have that avenue, so passive views are no longer as much a thing, although it is also likely he'll just create a new account. Johnny Somali's actions are so disruptive and offensive to the South Korean people that his actions were discussed during a parliamentary session in the country on October 30th. He has in public been attacked multiple times, during live broadcasts no less. You saw the first part of one a little earlier. Here's another one.
Somali, say something. Somali, say.
대한민국에서 앞으로 저렇게 소말리 같은 애들 진짜 처리할 거니까 앞으로 대한민국에서 하지 마. 알겠지? 소말리.
Johnny, being the champ that he is, has actually stated his views on incidents like this, how he rates other countries. Man can't leave South Korea at the moment and is looking at 10 years in prison for his behaviour, which is hilarious because I can imagine he'll last more than 5 minutes in the prison before he gets passed around like a joint.
Japan, y'all ain't got nothing going on. Y'all weak as hell. Y'all Korean is weak as.
This creature tickles me because I can't tell if he's trying to do it ironically or not. The man was born in Scottsdale, Arizona, and he's dunking on his own nation as well. Okay, but propping up the communist one. Okay, that's even better. They rated Japan as well. Okay, this is fascinating stuff. You were barred from leaving South Korea because on the 26th of October, you disobeyed rules and then later assaulted a woman by throwing an unknown liquid on her and smacking her camera out of her hand onto a nearby street. They're still probing all earlier incidents because of your stupid behaviour. You threatened to slap BTS, which in Korea is a bit haram, and you know it. Although I'm pretty sure since they've all done their military service, you won't be the one doing the slapping. I promise you that. The idea's been floated that perhaps if you're so desperate to act like a knob, to send you to North Korea to see if you think for a moment you can get away with any of it. You won't. They will have absolutely brutalised you by the time you made it so much as 2 steps over the border. Now, one of his hooks that he tries to use as a way of getting out of any accountability because of how they're treated generally worldwide is he touts himself as a journalist or the press, believing that by having that status, he is immune from all consequence. You saw it in the Israel video, and he has tried to use it in Japan, he has tried to use it in South Korea. In fact, wherever he goes, it is his go-to excuse. You're about as much a journalist as my dog Plumpy, Lizzie, is Heisenberg Take 2 Electric Boogaloo. You are as much a journalist as a T-Rex is the best at giving handjobs. You are as much a journalist as Twitter is currently not a massive salt mine. You are as much a journalist as Count Dankula is English. Do I need to continue? You're an embarrassing excuse for an individual, and if you get banned from any other platform, you will have well and truly deserved it. The arrogance, entitlement, smugness, and disregard for respect and culture is so deeply embedded in your own mindset because of your desperation to stand out that you have caused genuine harm to others, and you take for granted enough in those countries where you believe by being an American, along with a journalist, means that you are somehow exempt. Well, America right now is going through its own little shift, and I doubt they're going to care about one kick streamer who's too busy LARPing as a journalist around the world and getting arrested multiple times. Enjoy being held by South Korea for however long you're held. Don't be surprised if you're held there for a long, long time. By the way, usually a country will kick you out of their country if you disrespect them, but they've actually escalated it in a way that I am fully on board with by saying you can't leave. That is a big dick move. You'll know more about that if you spend enough time in their prisons.